Welcome to the final 2013 edition of the RCWR Show on December 30th, 2013. I am, of course, as always, the one and only, the Black Avenger, a.k.a. the Black Aswell, Lee Sanders. Thank you guys so much for staying up late with us. What a historic episode of WWE Raw that we just saw go off the air. Man, a lot of key points that we got to talk about tonight. We don't need to go all over the place and talk about every single little nook and cranny that came about from tonight's Raw. Instead, we're just going to highlight the key parts for you guys that we need for you to take away that we felt is most important of this episode. As always, we love interacting with you guys. You can hit us up a number of ways. Twitter at the RCWR Show. I'm looking at the Twitter timeline right now in case you guys want to put in a thought or two. I will gladly give you guys an on-air mention. You can participate in our chat room at BTR YouTube. You guys are watching this right now. Just post your comments down below. We'll definitely show you guys some love. If you want to call into the show, you can do so. Number to call, as always, is 646-478-3525. Once again, that's 646-478-3525. Listen to the prompts. Get yourself live on the air, my good friends. You know, I'm not flying solo on this special edition of the RCWR Show because on top of talking about Fallout from tonight's WWE Raw, we're also going to go a little bit in depth about this year in wrestling, not just from WWE, but we'll also talk about what's been going on with TNA Wrestling. We'll talk about where all they've gone, where they're going to be going, current state of professional wrestling, and really I couldn't think of a better guest to have right along with me during the course of this episode than somebody that you all are probably most likely familiar with. He was a one-time guest on our show earlier this year, and he's actually on, believe it or not, a short list. And we did try to make it be a short list, but he's on the list of nominees for the RCWR Show 2013 Interview of the Year Award. And if you guys remember this guy, then definitely show your love in restoring the manager. That's right. It's pro wrestling manager, radio personality, Titus Machiavelli. Titus, how you doing, brother? Happy New Year. Happy holidays.
Very well. Thank you, Lee. I'm glad to be here tonight. I've been excited, ready to get on the air and talk wrestling and talk about Raw that just ended, talk about TNA, and I'm excited to be here.
Great to have you, man. It's great to have you back. And we definitely got to make sure in the later part of the show we let the good folks know what all you've been up to and everything, because I know you've been quite busy since last we had checked in with you, so we definitely need to get them caught up to speed. While we're plugging away and all that, let folks know how they can stay in contact with you. Put your Twitter and all that out there.
Oh, yeah, well, Twitter's where I've become most active. That's at Evil Genius Titus. And, of course, you can always find me on Facebook, Facebook.com/Mr. Titus Machiavelli. Everything's available on my website, TitusMachiavelli.com, of course. That's the best place to find all the ways to contact me.
All right, awesome. Yeah, man, you know, you and me were talking about this right before Raw came on tonight, and I don't know if you had watched SmackDown last week, but I couldn't help but say to myself, you know, hopefully Raw will hit a home run, because the SmackDown episode that they gave us last week, they really hit a home run, especially with the John Cena-Seth Rollins match. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're looking at I give Cena a lot more credit than a lot of the internet wrestling community does. But when you put him in there with any of the three members of the Shield, you're going to have a good main event. I'm a big Shield guy. I'm a big Wyatt guy as well. So, yeah, they ended SmackDown quite well. Had high hopes for the closing of 2013 with Raw.
Yeah, and I mean, there was just so much goodness that came out of tonight's Raw. And again, folks, we're not going to bore you guys to death with every single nook and cranny that came about from tonight's episode. We're only going to highlight key points for you guys. As far as straight-up good wrestling goes, we did have that. It was Dolph Ziggler taking on Curtis Axel. That was surprisingly a very good matchup. We saw Dolph Ziggler picked up the victory right there. But, you know, Titus, as I was watching Dolph Ziggler take on Curtis Axel, I see Dolph Ziggler come out. He's shaking his hips. He's shaking his little butt and everything, I couldn't help but say to myself, wait a minute, man. Didn't the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Randy Orton do a serious number on you on SmackDown last week? I mean, it wasn't just your comment, hey, you got your ass whooped. I mean, this guy, correct me if I'm wrong, he took DDT at the hands of Orton on the hard surface floor over by the wall barrier where the fans are located. I'm looking at something like that, and I'm thinking about to what Randy Orton had did to The Miz. A couple of other people when he did that spot. We saw that wrestler that took the injury sell it at least for a week or two, and then they came back wanting to seek some type of revenge. I just kind of felt that it was a little bit of a missed opportunity on WWE Booking's part, because if you're getting that serious of a beating, Titus, surely you're going to have it set up so that Dolph Ziggler comes out, cuts a promo. It doesn't have to be a 15-minute promo. Just have him come out and say, hey, Randy Orton, you think you and me are done by a long shot? Hell no, especially after what you did to me on SmackDown. Get out here right now. Let's have at it. Then maybe you could have had Curtis Axel, Ryback come out, talk some trash. Then you could have set up your Ziggler versus Curtis Axel match. I mean, maybe I'm overanalyzing that, but I just couldn't help but freestyle that as soon as I saw Ziggler come out and he had this match with Axel. What was your take on that?
Well, they had that pre-canned promo for him, so nothing organic, nothing live. I agree. If you're gonna do a promo, I'm a kid of the '80s. I love the old pop-up window and have the guy talk about what he's going to be doing and yada yada yada. But the live promo would have had a better impact. I agree with you, Lee. One of the problems that you have with WWE is sometimes they have amnesia. They forget that this happened or that happened, or they expect us to forget this happened or that happened. It goes back to with Big Show getting his ironclad contract, and then he's being let go. Well, he can't be threatened to be let go because he's an ironclad contract. Oops, we were supposed to forget that. So that's the problem with WWE in some aspects. From time to time, they do have that amnesia, and they missed opportunities. You're right. It was a great opportunity. Curtis Axel could have worked the head a little bit, could have worked the neck, tried to work around those things to heighten the injury that he sustained. But it was, instead of using it for a storyline, it more became a spot in the show that took place, and in truth, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. We want to apologize to our YouTube audience. I'm getting a couple of comments coming in. Dude! It was, instead of using it for a storyline, it more became a spot in the show that took place, and in truth, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. We want to apologize to our YouTube audience. I'm getting a couple of comments coming in. Dude, we can't hear you. There's no sound. It's going to take me a minute to get used to this. I apologize, folks, but for you guys watching on YouTube, as you can see, I got some new equipment right here and a mic, and I forgot to do the most simplest thing, Titus. I forgot to flip the on switch. So, YouTube, we humbly apologize for that. If I can go back and... Yeah, it's live. Anything can happen, man. But Blog Talk Radio audience, you guys heard every single thing that we just said here. So YouTube, I'll tell you what I can do when this is over. We'll see if maybe we can give you guys, I think that was probably 5 minutes folks had missed right there. We'll see if we can maybe try to give you guys back that, as I'll try to look into remixing it. But yeah, Titus, I'm definitely with you 100% on that one. How about Big E Langston, though, man, taking on Fandango for the Intercontinental Championship? I mean, I don't know if you saw the tweet I put out, Titus, but I mean, I can't help but, and this really comes from the heart as an African-American man. I can't help but think about guys like Farouk, who was the first African-American WCW World Heavyweight Champion. I can't help think about guys like Ahmed Johnson, Bobby Lashley. I know everybody has their say about Bobby Lashley, but I still think that was a guy who was in the right place at the right time that really could have been big things for the WWE if he would have stuck around. I can't help but look at a guy like Big E Langston who had one hell of a performance tonight, Titus. It just made me go, you know what? If this guy isn't the WWE champion before 2016, something's wrong.
Well, I agree. You know, when Big E first made his appearance with Dolph Ziggler as his bodyguard, I was down on it. I didn't like what he felt. I didn't like what he came across. This face turn for him really works for him. The talk throughout the internet will be Punk and his opening match with Seth Rollins. But I tweeted during that match, and that was a quality match between two guys who I think have a decent career ahead of them. I really am big on Big E Langston. I'm big on Fandango. I think he's got something. The problem with Fandango is booking. They don't know what to do with him. And he's a quality guy. And I think these guys put on a great match tonight. And it had all the things that you want for a professional wrestling match. It had the proper layout, the good drama, the comeback for the favorite. It was a good match, and I would probably rank it second or third best match of the night.
Yeah, hands down, a really, really good match. And I dare say, I'll go a step further than that, Titus. I would have to say this was one of the best title defenses for the Intercontinental title. Honestly, I think we've seen in a couple of years.
Yeah, and I'd like to see, with a focus on this Intercontinental title, which has always been, for as many years as I can go back, this was the title that you got as you were getting ready to get your big push. The Macho Man getting that title for, before he became WWE champion. Just with the natural progression, Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, all did that progression. And over the last couple of years, the oversaturation with championships, the U.S. title, the Intercontinental, all those different things, it's nice to see a quality Intercontinental Championship matchup. Whether this was for the title, I don't recall. This was the title shot, was it not?
This was the title shot, yeah.
Right. So it's nice. I don't think Curtis Axel defended the title more than 2 or 3 times his entire reign as Intercontinental Champion on Monday Night Raw. So it's nice to see a real nice championship match for the Intercontinental title that has lost luster over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I echo those same sentiments. CM Punk, he caused a little bit of a stir with the Shield members trying to figure out who was the baddest man in the group. He was debating on whether it was Roman Reigns or if it was Seth Rollins, even playing up to the fact that all the talk has been about Roman Reigns. We see Dean Ambrose, he got shot down real quick, as CM Punk was very quick to mention that he's beaten Ambrose a number of times. And we actually saw Seth Rollins step up to the plate. Titus, were you a little bit disappointed with this? I know for me personally, I did not mind seeing Rollins and Punk go at it, as Jerry Lawler, Michael Cole had pointed out. This was actually, surprisingly, folks, believe it or not, the first time that these two guys locked it up. And I dare say, after seeing Rollins have such a great match with John Cena on SmackDown last week, really, it didn't surprise me to see Punk and Rollins go at it.
Well, it was, for me, the match of the night was a perfect progression. Roman Reigns is going to be the guy that comes out of the Shield as the biggest superstar in the upcoming years, in my opinion. And so, with the push at Survivor Series, he's probably going to get a heck of a push come Royal Rumble. It's a progression that really works. You work your way to that big guy, which we're going to get next week, as it was announced for Old School Raw Night. It's a nice progression. What I really loved, and this goes back to what you were saying earlier with Dolph Ziggler, with the progression of how this whole match took place. A missing element that gets lost sometimes is psychology. And CM Punk is one of the best, in the world on the microphone. We all know that. He's able to create that psychology of building inside the Shield's head. Wait a minute, I'm the best. You're guys the best. I'm the best. And create that dissension that we all know is coming. They're going to turn on each other and move their own way. But that just plays into that even more. The disappointment was the addition of Brad Maddox, who had no point of being there, can't deliver anything whatsoever, kind of took away a little bit of what was built there, but loved the entire segment that was put on there. And, yeah, I was big on this matchup between him and Seth Rollins because it hasn't happened before. And I look at Seth Rollins as the X-Pac of the Shield. He can really go pretty much with anybody that's put in front of him. And then you get CM Punk, it just makes it that much better.
Yeah, it's something that I had said, I think last week, and I definitely was talking about it to a couple of friends, because we actually didn't talk about SmackDown from last week over the weekend, as I had took a personal day off. But I gotta make sure that I stress this enough. For those of you folks out there that had any doubt that Seth Rollins was not going to be able to survive if WWE upper management decides to break up the Shield, what he did with John Cena last week, what he did with CM Punk tonight, Titus, I definitely think the future is very bright for Seth Rollins as long as WWE, they really utilize him right. And I think he's proven to them, without a shadow of a doubt, that he does belong at some point in the main event scene.
I discounted Seth over the last couple of months. I did refer to him as the X-Pac. I looked at Roman Reigns as Kevin Nash, Dean Ambrose as Scott Hall. But I forget sometimes how good X-Pac really was. Sean Waltman is a tremendous worker and can put on a great match, again, with anybody. And I use that term not as a disparaging comment that I used to use it, but I use it more as he's a positive. He is a quality worker. He and Daniel Bryan have put on some incredible matches on Raw this past year, and putting with CM Punk, just like Daniel Bryan, great mat workers. And like I said, people don't give John Cena a lot of credit. 5 moves of doom and whatever, but he can work with guys within a certain area, and a guy like Seth Rollins, who is so talented, can elevate that even in a guy like Cena, who is not the best mat technician in the world.
Yeah. What was your take on the Bad News Barrett promo? I mean, he's kind of growing on me like a fungus. I mean, some parts he's good, but then there's other parts that kind of make you go, why the hell is our time being wasted with this new incarnation of Wade Barrett?
I can't handle it. I just can't. I try to get into it. I'm accustomed to the heel. I root for the heel. I root for the bad guy, more times than not. I just can't. I can't put my hands around it. I can't dress it. It's not something that I really like. And I like you. I'm trying. It's not who Wade Barrett is. He is a brawler. He's a bare-knuckle fighter. Let's not do all this, gavel, and let's just put him in a match and have him wrestle. He's a good wrestler.
Yeah. And
this is unneeded in my mind. I can't get into it.
Yeah, same here. I'm having the same problem. And on a funny note, for you metal fans out there, I don't know why, but tonight Wade Barrett was reminding me a lot like Lemmy from Motorhead. There was just something about his voice tonight that just kind of had me go, okay, cue the guitars. Of course, one of the biggest moments of the night came from Triple H, who dropped a huge bombshell, revealing that returning, and get this, as this is something you don't see every day, folks, Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman, but wait for it, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, shaking hands. Bygones are bygones, Titus, as Paul Heyman reveals that Brock Lesnar is back, and he's not back to renew feuds. If anything, he is back with a new goal, and that's to become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Brock Lesnar grabbing the microphone, cutting a rare promo. Always love it when Brock Lesnar speaks. I like the way he's been utilized since he's been back. When he cuts the promos, it really counts. You really take in what he says. I don't know about you guys, but for me, the rare times that I see him grab the microphone and he's getting ready to talk, it's like, okay, let's be quiet, because he's got something good that he's going to be saying. And I never hear the fans chant that irritating what. As far as Brock Lesnar is concerned, it doesn't matter what's going on with the Royal Rumble coming up in a few weeks. It all starts behind him, because he is the #1 contender that's going to be taking on the winner of John Cena versus Randy Orton at the Royal Rumble for the WWE World Heavyweight title. Oh, yeah, that announcement was made by Stephanie McMahon. And as far as Brock Lesnar was concerned, if anybody had a problem with that, they were more than welcome to come out. We would end up seeing Mark Henry step up to the challenge. Titus, Mark Henry, whoo, some would question if this beating came at a very weird moment, considering Mark Henry was the Black Santa last week. So in retrospect, was this maybe WWE's sixth sense of humor, if you will, of getting back at Mark Henry? But in either case, we saw Brock Lesnar make short work of Mark Henry. Devastating spear through the wall barrier, followed up by a devastating F5 to the hard floor. Woo! Probably one of the best segments of Raw tonight.
Well, you know, what I love a lot about that, one of the things I initially love is the fact that we got Brock at the top of the third hour of Raw, not at the end of Raw. So usually Brock shows up at the last 5 minutes of the show and they go home with him. That was kind of nice. You know, I expected this to happen tonight at the end of the dirt sheets out there said it was coming through, and so you expected it to happen at the end of the show. Didn't come. In the middle of the show. I love the fact, just like you, Brock doesn't talk very much, and there's a reason for that. But when he does talk, he does say what needs to be said and gets his point across very well. He has one of the best in the business of all time doing his talking for him and Paul Heyman. Love Mark Henry coming down, because last week was not Mark Henry. Mark Henry is 450-pound, world's strongest man, toughest guy in the world. The way that the WWE has been using Brock really puts him over as a monster in a way that no other guy in the entire WWE has been put over like. He can destroy anybody he gets in front of. I want to see these guys go at it at Royal Rumble, and I do want to see Brock win, continue this monster run that he has. My only issue with the entire thing was he's self-proclaiming himself as the #1 contender. That doesn't, I mean, I tweeted that out afterwards, so that's how it works. I'm calling myself #1 contender. We're all going with it. I would have liked to see something a little bit more, quote-unquote, official, but we can't all have what we want to be perfect. Other than that little personal issue, I loved the entire part of it. I thought it was great, and they utilized Brock so well.
You know, I can't help but wonder, Titus, is a train wreck coming? Because we got Dave Bautista, who's going to be returning January 20th on Raw. I wonder if maybe he might be the one to step up in Brock Lesnar's face and say, it's not going to work that way.
You know, I thought to myself as Triple H was shaking hands with Brock, that look on Triple H's face says, "Oh, do I have a surprise for you in 3 weeks?" But then Mark Henry came out and it kind of took that thought out of my head. But yeah, I'm with you. Whether whether they're going to hit, whether Brock is in the Royal Rumble, apparently he won't be because he's going to be taking on Mark Henry. I kind of expected some kind of a clash at the Rumble. Yeah, I see that as being the match at WrestleMania, the two of them, more than I see Randy Orton and Batista for the title. That's what I see those two doing. But we'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, hopefully. And newsflash, WWE upper management, Brock Lesnar versus Batista. Shut up and take my money, because you do that right, especially considering both of these guys, they got the whole MMA thing. Yeah, Batista, he only has one MMA fight, but he was victorious, okay? We can just say he's cherry-picking his fights. I think that is something just ready to happen. I smell nothing but money. Let's make it happen. I know we're hearing the rumblings of Undertaker and Batista. That really doesn't jump to me like that. Or correction, Undertaker and Brock Lesnar is what we're hearing. I'm not too fond of that. Let it be Lesnar versus Batista.
Brock and Taker a couple of years ago when they had that moment. That would have worked for me. I don't see, the dead man versus maybe the big evil, biker Undertaker versus Brock would have worked better. But no, I'm with you. I want something else for Undertaker. Allegedly his last WrestleMania, something a little bigger.
Yeah.
What that is, I don't have the answer to that. But I like the Batista and Lesnar angle much better than I do the Lesnar Undertaker.
Yeah. And how about the way Raw ended tonight? My God, it looks like Bryan Danielson has joined the dark side, known as the Wyatt family. This was after Daniel Bryan participated in a gauntlet match, if you will, where it was laid out to him that if he was able to get through Eric Rowan and then followed up by Luke Harper, he would then have one-on-one, a match with Bray Wyatt. Daniel Bryan just barely able to get out of those first two. When it came time for that third match with Bray Wyatt, we pretty much saw chaos break out as all three members beat down on Daniel Bryan. Match was thrown out. We saw Bray Wyatt once again inform Daniel Bryan how he's tried over the past several weeks to basically try to recruit Daniel Bryan, and all has failed. And basically, Bray Wyatt trying to extend that olive branch to him one more time to join. We basically saw Daniel Bryan. They stretched it out, Titus. It took them about 10 minutes to get Daniel Bryan to finally join them. But 2013 would end with Daniel Bryan going over to the heel side in the Wyatt family. Titus, your thoughts on that, bro?
It goes back to psychology. In that 10 minutes was needed. If it wouldn't have worked in 7, it needed the full 10 minutes. You see the transformation of, I cannot break through. The machine will not let me break through. I've given it a go any further, not the top of the stage. He starts, getting the crowds cheering him, and they finally got it. They were dead for a little bit, and I was worried they was going to spoil the spot. They finally got in there, and they were yelling for him. He was getting into it, and the face told that, no, there's nothing there. The tank is empty. This guy says he's got something that will take me to the next level. I like it. I want to see it play out. God, please don't let this die in a week or 2 weeks. This needs to play out for, a number of weeks, if not months. That conflict within him, that he's given everything he has, can't break through. But Bray Wyatt has the answer to get him through. I hope they keep it up, because I really like the way that I love the transformation that you saw in that 10-minute spot. And for the record, I'm going to stay right here on December the 30th, 2013. That 1 year from now, when you've invited me back, I'm going to say, yeah, I told you back last year that 2014 was the year of Bray Wyatt. This is his year coming up.
It does feel like it. It does feel like it. I can't help but look at that segment, Titus, and ask myself, is this something that WWE really wants to explore? Because part of me is saying to myself, if you're going to go this route, how far are you willing to push the envelope? Are you willing to push it to the point where you want to try to see how Daniel Bryan does without the catchphrases, without the T-shirts, without the signs, respect the beard and all that? Are you going to push him to being one of those dark, conflicted characters that just comes out, black trunks, knee pads, black boots or whatever? How far are you willing to go with this? Because a good example of a character that was doing superb in the WWE was Ryback, babyface Ryback. Had the Phoebe More chants going on, had the little kids into him, adults of all ages. Then WWE decides, well, let's turn him heel after he was in, 3 consecutive pay-per-view matches for the WWE title or something like that, and he got screwed out of them.
Three main events in a row, right.
Right, they turn him into a heel, and then pretty much it just goes south after that. I can't help but wonder, is this really something that they really want to put Daniel Bryan in? Because, yes, granted, he's been put through everything else, and he's come out on top. But through it all, he's been one of those, let's be honest, when you play it back, he's pretty much been a babyface. So are you really going to go this heel route, and to the point where you're going to strip away his catchphrases and all that, and will it work? I'm concerned about that, Titus.
I see it's going to be a conflicted heel. He's not going to, it's going to be that confliction inside him. He wants to be this way, but he's torn this way. This is going to tick off a lot of people when I say this. I see John Cena coming in as the face of the voice of reason, setting up a Bray Wyatt, John Cena angle leading into WrestleMania. That's what I would foresee. Cena comes in, pulls, Daniel out of the Wyatt family. Bray seeks his revenge for, I had him, stole him away. And it's sad, I think, the segmentation between where they are today to get him to John Cena. Because I don't think Cena's going to be in the main event this year. I don't think he's in the title hunt this year. I think, the last 2 years with main event with Rock and all that, they're going to do something a little different. They don't need Cena in the main event for him to be, big and popular. That's what I think. I think that's the transition that may go through there.
Yeah, we shall wait and see. But as WWE wraps up this calendar year, and we're actually going to be going a little bit more in depth about WWE. We'll look at a lot of the good, some of the bad. We'll definitely talk about the future more in just a little bit. But just wrapping all of this up, WWE, they hit a home run with SmackDown, the final SmackDown for 2013. They hit a home run with Raw tonight for those key segments that we talked about. And Titus, look at next week. Raw is going old school. Legends of the past are going to be returning. That should be a pretty historic episode. We already know, Nature Boy Ric Flair, he's going to be returning. So that should be a pretty solid episode coming up.
It usually is. They do a great job when a friend of mine tweeted earlier, one of the reasons they're doing something like that is because they do draw fans. Even the casual fan will turn on. They're going to be going up against the BCS championship game that very night as well, so they need something to keep people hooked. I tweeted, does this next week give us another former Hall of Famer and Hulk Hogan? I keep thinking to myself, what a great way to bring Hogan back in. I don't see it happening, but what a way to use it.
Ooh, Titus, I'm going to jump out there because that almost has slipped my mind. I think if they really want to push the envelope, let Hulk Hogan come back. Let him come back for that night only. I think it would be a little bit overkill if they also made it like a Hulk Hogan Appreciation Night, like exclusive on the WWE app. I think WWE has plenty of time for that. They can do that like after WrestleMania or something like that. Go ahead, Titus.
Oh, there's plenty of time for that. I agree.
Yeah.
They don't need to make it that night.
Yeah.
Have him pop in as an unannounced, old school legend, alongside of, Piper and Flair and all the guys they're going to have.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. So let's jump out there. I'm gonna say Hogan's gonna pop up next week.
I want it to happen, and it's something why it won't. But yeah, I think it's a great time to use him. Maybe have some sort of just there he is. Nothing, no banter, none of that kind of stuff. Maybe a week or two later, somebody comments, and it sets up something for him at WrestleMania. The thought is they want him at Mania, doing something. Clearly, able to have that match with John Cena that has been rumored so much. I don't think he's physically capable of it. Nor will WWE, doctors allow him to do it. But he'll have some sort of involvement in WrestleMania. But I think for the night, yeah, that's what I'd like to see. Him just come out, tip his cap, do a couple of poses for the crowd, and that could be the go home for the night. That could be the last segment.
Just to picture a set with Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, in WWE on Old School Night next week, and it's the return of WWE Raw live. No more spoilers for some of you guys. No more of you wrestling sites jumping the gun and reporting stuff and all that early. It's live. I'm telling you, man, WWE has a magical moment right there. We shall wait and see what they do. And, folks, that's going to do it for the talk of WWE Raw tonight. Let's see what some of you guys are saying. I just want to poke my head in some of the chat rooms. Good. I love that. No comments coming in the chat room. That's good. I'm looking on YouTube. Let's see if we got any comments coming in. And YouTube, I apologize, but sometimes there's a little bit of a delay in seeing what you guys are saying. So if you guys are talking about tonight's Raw, I probably won't see them until we end this. And just bear in mind, I'll definitely respond to every single body's comments. I see Shy Dog. Why, Bryan? Why? What will your fiance think? Titus, good point, man. They're going this route. I can't help but think about Total Divas. I know they're trying to give us that little private invite into key WWE superstars and divas' personal lives, but I can't really help but kind of think about Total Divas in the rearview mirror as I'm trying to fully take in what's going on with Daniel Bryan. You think fans are going to be a little bit conflicted?
Well, I think that the art of kayfabe is both. Daniel Bryan was kidnapped by the Blacks a number of weeks ago, and the very next segment was the Bellas talking to Michael Strait, and he said that.
Yes.
How concerned was she that her fiance was kidnapped by Bray Wyatt?
Yeah.
And she's talking to football player. So I don't think that one hand talks to the other, unfortunately. He turns, dark side, and yet, everything goes on. I think that show is more of a behind the curtain look more than anything storyline related.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. And YouTube audience, that's going to do it. We're going to break away now from the talk of WWE Raw, but we're just getting started, man. We're going to be going a year in review, if you will, on WWE TNA. We'll also talk about the current state of wrestling. YouTube audience, you're more than encouraged to join us over at blogtalkradio.com right now. You can find us at blogtalkradio.com/the RCWR Show. And we're going to continue the discussion of wrestling. And for those of you that's not able to follow us over on Blog Talk Radio, have no fear. We will have our whole entire discussion be uploaded here later on tonight, wee hours of the night. Just come on back Tuesday morning. It'll definitely be on our channel. Make sure you give this piece a like, share, tweet it out there, Facebook it, Google Plus it, one of the many ways you can help spread the good word about our content. And once again, we do apologize for the first couple of minutes of our show. I'll definitely go back and see if we can fix it up for those of you that's going to be watching the encore of this later on. But YouTube, we wish all y'all to be safe and be kind to one another. Everybody, take care.